Hello.
Oh no, we have not found sufficient
She didn't
evidence.
make it in there. She didn't find evidence for anything. Yeah.
What formula do we use for our T star or Z star to create our rejection region?
There's no formula for the rejection region. I don't understand.
I
The
mean,
rejection region you get right off of your T-score chart or Z-score chart if I give you something evil. Yeah.
oh, and then we have to create a Z score for um,
The sample.
the sample.
What we call Z-star. Yeah. So I really want you to understand the reason I came up with the symbol Z-star and T-star is because before we do that in step D, the fourth step, we have to create a rejection region that's got its own Z-star and stuff, right? Or I'm sorry, Z-score or T-score. So that's why I said, let's call one of them something different because we got all these Z's running around.
Okay, just to further that, and I'm sorry, I'm applying it to one, which had two tails, because it was asking for a certain percentage that corresponds with our Z-score chart as 1.645.
Well, no.
Okay, that's a simple answer.
Point oh, yeah, exactly. It's 0.05, two tails. Try it again. 0.05, two tails. If you look it up, you won't get 1.645.
I'll get. I'm
Question real
stupid.
quick.
Yeah.
If for the, I'm trying to look up the T score. For like, and if the, what's it called? DF.
Yeah.
Again, if it's like 76, that's like really big. So do I just stop at 80, like on the chart?
I mean, that's in the gray area. Normally, you need to go down to 70. But I mean, it's sort of close to 80, so that it might be okay to do 80. We had a whole discussion about this. What do I do if the degrees of freedom is not on the T-score chart? You almost always should go make the T-score larger, meaning go down to 70.
Oh, okay. So
Because,
just go below.
yeah, we have to penalize ourselves for not knowing.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you went up to 80 on that problem, I probably wouldn't take points off, you know.
I
Someone's
have a question.
Yes.
So, how would you find percentiles in a uniform distribution? Because I saw it in the book. It's a formula K minus something times the
I'll
height.
screw that formula. Take that formula. I'm sorry. You know, you guys hopefully know me a bit after several weeks together. The formula is shit. Let's talk about the idea is so simple. So let me turn off my background. And I don't mean to say that to make you feel bad because you don't understand what the hell to do. But I want to show you how that formula just really makes it seem like it's so weird. Hold on, let me turn off my. Oh, jeez. Every time it's slower. Here we go. Okay. So let me do this up on the board. Okay. So the question right now, if you just came in, is how do you find percentiles in a uniform distribution, right? And I found this shirt. I had this shirt forever, and I found it the other day. Without data, you're just another person waiting there. Okay. One of my favorite shirts, and nobody appreciated it, but that's fine because I love it. So if I have a uniform curve, uniform distribution. See somebody? All right, watch. Okay. All right. If I have a uniform distribution from 9 to 16, right? How tall is it? For one thing, how tall would it be?
1 out of 7?
1 out of 7. And this is from chapter 5, right? Uniform distributions is chapter 5. 1 out of 7. So tell me real quick, what's the probability that it's between 9 and 11?
So you would do base times height, so 2 times 1/7.
Good, right? So here's 11. So I want this. So that would be 11. Sorry, down there. That would be 2 times 1/7. Is everybody with me? That's that. And I know this, I understand. I'm not answering your question yet. I'm building up to the answer. If you're wondering what this has to do with a percentile, this is part A. So percentile is going to be part B. So this is 2/7, which is what? 2, 8, something. Or is it 9?
7.
2857. Okay. Would you agree with me then that isn't 11? Let me say it. You ready? Isn't 11 almost the 29th percentile? Does anyone understand what I mean? Isn't 11 is just about P29? Because what percentage is below 11? What percentage is below 11?
28%, 28.57%.
9 almost, right? If you round up. Okay, now, so if I ask you, what is the 68th percentile? How far in do I need to go? I need to go far enough in that I get 68%. Yes.
So then would it be x times the height equals 0.68?
No. It's the reverse of this. But I don't have to have some formula to memorize. Watch this. How far is the whole thing? How far is the whole thing?
7.
7. So I want to do 68% of 7. I want to go 68% of the way. Please let that make sense. The whole way would be 7. So how far if I want to go 68% of the way? Well, 68% of 7. But where did I start?
9.
9. So start at 9 and go 68% of the way in. That'll be the 68th percentile. Let's see what we get. What is that? 2/3. It's like 14.8. I don't know.
13.76.
Holy shit. No, that can't be true. 17? No. I'm not sure what happened there. Can anybody do that for me?
13.76.
Sounds better. Or is that what you said?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sally, you said 17. 13.76. Yes?
Yes.
Does that, please let that make sense? Isn't the 68th percentile 68% of the way over? So when I start at 9 and add 68% of the total distance of that's how deep I want to go into it. I mean, that's the idea of a percentile. So if you want to use the formula, if you want to memorize that shit, go ahead. But as always happens in math and science, the idea is easier than the formulas.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, that was more than you wanted, but okay.
No, that helped a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Has everybody seen, so let me show you guys a few things. Has everybody seen their quiz for one thing? All the quiz 6s were graded, so that's, of course, like I said, one thing we can talk about. Has anybody seen their updated, oh shit, I haven't updated the, damn it. All right, so one thing I haven't done, damn it. So I managed to get into Canvas the grade you need to make on the final to do several things. I have not updated the average grades, so I'm sorry about that. I just realized. So I just got the thing in my office hours. I was still inputting the thing. Anyway, you're like, just do your job, math boy. Oh, I'm sorry. So let me show you real quick here. So let me become a student. There we go. So if you go to grades, oh, I didn't even check to make sure where this shows up. Let me see, where does this show up? Oh, thank God. So these have not been updated yet. I'm sorry. They still have the old numbers in there before we did, since the last time I updated it. But this is new here, and I just forgot to put a grade in for my test student, but so this is the final exam grade you need to pass if you have all the homework turned in, and the number here would be the final exam grade you need to pass if you have no homework turned in. Do you guys understand so far? So is this student upset about this right here? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
It's a very good thing. This student, so this is the average student. This account is my test student, so I make them the average student, right? So on average, people need a 42 to pass. Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, some of you guys need 116 to pass, and some other people need negative numbers to just to pass, right? Which means, if you see me and you run me over the car, you might get negative grade. If you want to know what you need to get it like a B minus, add 33 on top of this. So my student, if they turn in all the homework, they would add 33 to this, and they would need a 75 to get a B minus. If you want to know what you need for an A minus, guess what? You add another 33 on top of that. Right? You guys, everybody with me so far? I got some chats coming. Let me check. Don't worry about mine. Okay. How much do we need to pass? That's what I'm exactly telling you. And that's what I've already told you. If you look at your Canvas grades.
If you add 33 to 42 and then you add another 33 to equal to A minus, right?
Yes.
But then that gives me 108.
Of course. Because the average student cannot make an A minus. Which is fine. That's not horrible. It's not the end of the world. Does that make sense? So if you add 33 twice and you get 150 or something, you're like, well, that's out of range now. But I always like to say, and I always try to make sure it's true, you have a chance to pass. Most people should have a chance to pass. Yeah, right now, like I said, some of you guys are in not great shape. So you should have known before now that you were in not great shape. So what's the immediate best thing you can do to get in better shape? Midterm corrections, if you haven't done them yet, because that's the next heaviest weighted thing. Then quiz corrections, if you haven't done them yet, because that's the next heaviest weighted thing, right? And of course, probably before those two is study for the final, because that is the heaviest weighted thing. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. So I'm really sorry if right now it says you need 112 to pass, but you can do things to make that better. Now, most of you guys are not quite in that boat. Some of you guys are not where you want to be. And somebody just asked me in chat, are these set in stone? Of course not. Like I just said, if there's corrections you haven't done yet, that will improve your standing, right? That will lower the score you need to pass. That will lower the score you need for a B minus and so forth. Any questions on that grade thing? Can everybody find that in Canvas? I haven't updated the average grade yet, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just happy I got the new thing put in there. No questions on that?
Does that take into that final grade calculation? Does that take into account the quiz we just took too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So hopefully right after class, I can update the average grades, which also will take into account the quiz grade, the quiz we just did. And any corrections you guys have done, right? So if you're worried about your average grade on Canvas, don't worry. It hasn't been updated since The last quiz. In the last quiz, I think the average grade on the last quiz was like an 80. What was it, Jeff? I don't know. 86. Yeah. Average grade on the last quiz was an 86. 14 people got an A on the last quiz. 81.5% pass rate on quiz 6. So good job. What really sucks, real quick, is I made a brand new quiz 6. I actually titled it quiz 6. I think I put it into Canvas and then I didn't hit save. So you actually took the quiz from last semester, which is why it said quiz 8. So I started to grade them and I was like, wait a minute, what the, oh shit, Jeff. Sorry. Yeah, I know. Did somebody say something? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Can we run through the practice final in class today, just as a good review?
I mean, that's part of what we can do. That's part of what we can do. If there's not a lot of questions, we can just do that. Even though I've already got the solutions video up, so I've already ran through the entire final practice final. Let me catch up with them. Tonight, can you post everybody's total grade? Yeah, that's what I just said. So I've already got the averages updated. I just haven't put them into Canvas yet. And does everybody understand that Canvas tells you your grade is not applicable, doesn't it, right now? Like if you look at the Canvas grade, and aren't you all just going, whatever, Canvas, I'm not looking at you, right? Yes, yes. Because I said that so many times last semester, and I still had a student saying, well, you haven't even told me what my grade is, and we're going to take the final tomorrow. I'm like, dude. All right, sorry. Just want to make sure everybody understands where your average is. And I'll update it right after class. Okay, so any other questions on grades? Any questions on technical questions about the final tomorrow, right? It's going to work just like the midterm.
I have a question on binomial probability.
Okay.
So when you're trying to find more than a certain number, would you do the total, choose one less than the number? So like you're trying to find, 2 or more out of something.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What?
And then
Go ahead.
how would you do that?
So if there were 80 people and you wanted the probability that 2 or more of them like lima beans or whatever the hell the thing is, right? You with me? Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah.
Okay. That would suck, right? Because what's 2 or more? It would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 80. You have to do the formula for all of those. What is it we do instead? If there's a probability problem with way too much work, what do we look at?
Isn't you look at the percentages of the success and failures?
Well, okay, you got to use those. But I mean, instead of calculating the probability of 2 and the probability of 3 and the probability of 4 and the probability of 5, all the way to 80 and adding them up, what is the shortcut? What's the quicker way to do that problem?
Do the opposite and then
Do the
subtract.
opposite. Yeah, what's the opposite of 2 or more?
1.
No, almost.
Less than 2?
Less than 2, which is 1, or everybody always forgets 0, right? If you talk to 8 people, does at least one of them always have to like lima beans? No, maybe none of them do, right? So you do the probability of 1, you do the formula, right? N choose x, p to the x, blah, blah, blah. And you do the formula for 0, and then you add them up, and then what do?
Subtract them from 1.
Yes, because I really want this to, all right, original question person, are you with me on this so far?
Yes.
Okay, because anytime that the opposite situation in a probability question has less work to do, yes, I will do that. Because if I know the answer for the opposite probability, 1 minus that makes it the answer for what they want. You guys with me?
Yeah. So if you were trying to find more than 2, you do the probability of 2 and then the probability of no.
Oh, more than 2. All right,
Yeah.
now you're changing the question. Go ahead.
So if you're doing the probability of 2, you'd find the probability of exactly 2
You would
And
just put a 2 in the formula and be done with it.
and subtract that from 1?
No. All right, so be really careful with the question you're asking me about. Is the question you're asking me about right now the probability of exactly 2?
No, the probability of more than 2.
More than 2. So what's the opposite of more than 2?
The less than 2.
No. Anybody? What's the opposite of more than 2?
Equal to or less than 2?
Yes, less than or equal to 2. So then you have to do the formula for 2, the formula for 1, the formula for 0. Now stay with me real quick. The original thing you said was the probability of 2 or more. Doesn't that include 2?
Yes.
Okay, and the opposite would be everything that I left out, which is only 1 and 0. That's why the original thing we discussed was do the probability of 1 and the probability of 0, then subtract those from 1, right? If the question is greater than 2, more than 2, then the opposite is 2 or 1 or 0. So then I have to do those 3, which is still a lot better than doing 78 formulas, right? Hell yeah.
Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
Well, so I love it. In general, if the opposite probability is easier to calculate, why in the hell would you not do that? Because then you just do 1 minus and you got the answer.
And you
That's how, yeah.
you include 0 when you do less than a certain number, so you probability of 2,
Have to.
probability of 1,
That's
probability of
always
0.
a possibility. 0 is a possibility. Now, for a specific problem, the probability of 0 could come out to be basically 0, right? But you still have to calculate it to make sure. You still have to include it. Because probably 0 could be 90%, right?
Okay.
Hey Jeff, I have a question.
Yes.
So for the so you know on grades you put the final exam grade with the homework and without. The one with the homework, is that like if we recorrect it or if that's like right now?
That's just right now. If you've turned in no homework, I tell you what things are. And if you turned in all the homework, I tell you what things are. And if you're somewhere in between, you just kind of, like if you got half of it, then you're halfway between. If you got 70% of it, then you're 70% of the way between. Right? Does that make sense? So the other part of your question is, can you change things? Of course. I mean, if you do more homework, if you correct stuff, if you correct quizzes, then your grade can certainly go up. And then your required grade goes down on the final.
Okay, because I have like most of my homework turned in, but they're just all X. Like most of them are X's.
All right. Well, if you haven't made corrections, then they're all half credit.
Okay.
Unless I say redo on them, in which case those are no credit until you make corrections.
Okay.
Professor, I have a question. I'm kind of having trouble with knowing how to word conclusions and then whether to know how to if you're going to reject the ho or support the ha. Like I'm kind of.
All right. Talk about that. That's a great question. Right? I'm sure other people agree with you because there's a lot of misunderstanding. People make it so, right? How many results are possible for any hypothesis test? How many results are possible?
2.
2, yes. And that kind of goes along with there only being 2 types of error because there's only 2 possible outcomes. So this can't be like this thing that's got all this multiple ways to go and you got to make a flow chart and you got to keep notes like when you watch the movie Inception. You're like, what level of thing are they on? I don't know. So no, it should not be an Inception level difficulty event, right? All right. So watch this. Let's do this. Okay, I think this is the best way to make this really simple. So let's say I'm going to have the two situations that we just discussed. So one situation is, here's the rejection region, and we don't get in there, right? Is everybody with me? And here, the other situation is, it doesn't even matter. I'm going to make this two-tailed because it doesn't matter. and we do make it in there, right? Okay, so one situation is we don't make it in, and the other one is we do make it in. That's the only two things that can happen, that's it. So if we don't make it in, what can we say about this? If we don't make it in, do we reject this and support this? What do we do? If we don't make it in there?
We reject the hoe.
No, we didn't make it in. We didn't make it. So we fail to reject. Please understand, does it make sense? Did we succeed? Did we make, no, we failed. We failed to reject the hoe. And of course that means we fail to support the high. Or the hop, sorry. Let me stop for a minute. Don't make this more, because if I can't say this guy is wrong, I cannot say this guy is right. They go together. I just said the same thing twice. Are you guys with me so far? If I don't make it in, I failed. So I fail at everything. How about if
Everything, but you kind of, when you come into the conclusion, you word it to match the claim.
yes, so now let's keep going with this. If the claim was HO, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room for this, was HO, then we would say we have not found sufficient evidence to reject, because that's the word that goes with HO. If the claim was HO, you use this language. That's why I was like circling this and drawing a line through the other one. So that's all. That's why the very first step is what is your claim and where does it go? Because at the end, all right, which one is my claim? That's the language I'm gonna use, right? That's it. So if the claim was HA, Jeff, then we would say we have not found sufficient evidence to what?
To support.
Yes, to support, because that's the language that goes with HA. Yes. I really want you guys to understand it's not as, there's not so many choices that you go insane. No, it's if I don't get there, I failed. Which one do I pick? Well, which one was the claim? Bam. Right? Does that, anybody?
Yep.
Does that make sense? So I get the feeling when I'm grading some stuff, it's everybody feels like there's so many more intertwined options and possible. No, there's only two. And then how do I word my conclusion? Well, which one was the claim? You want to talk about the claim. So over here, what would happen obviously for this guy? We make it in there. So then did we succeed?
Just really quick,
Yes.
what happens if you fall exactly on the critical value?
Oh,
What are you supposed to do?
There's a homework question I assigned specifically to address that. If you it's got to be greater, it's strictly greater than. So if you exactly equal this line, you fail.
Okay,
You got to get past that benchmark.
right. It's the more conservative thing to do to kind of say
Yes.
it's right, false. Okay,
Which, you know, if you exactly equal this, then you go back and you don't round as much to see really if you really fell one side or the other.
yeah, okay.
Probability of exactly being this is basically zero. So then you just go back and be more careful. Or, you know, again, guys, in real life, there really is not this rigid line. In real life, that rigid line does not really exist. What it represents when you're taking this course is they're giving us a self-defined level of evidence, right? So if you're in a field for several years and you do studies and you go to graduate school, you develop an interior understanding of the evidence required. Does what I just said make any sense? This is beyond what we need to worry about, but just in case. I need this understood. That's why they only give p-values in articles, because everybody comes with their own alpha, their own, this is what's going to convince me. Haven't you, don't some of your friends believe in Bigfoot with barely any evidence, but some of them are like, don't even believe in rabbits because they've never seen one. Or I don't know, it's a bad example, but right? Don't some of your friends go, yeah, it sounds okay to me. Sure, UFOs, owls, sure. And then some of your friends are like, what the shit? No, hell no. So everybody has different levels of evidence that they require. Okay. So if we don't make it in, we failed. How do I word my conclusion? Well, just talk about the claim. Bam. If the claim is this, use this language. If the claim is this, use this language.
I feel like sometimes I struggle with identifying which one the claim is because they throw out a lot of information.
But I pointed out in several problems, and the book is a little murkier than I'm going to be. I'm going to be a little more straightforward. But they pretty much, in several problems, they set up a number. Historically, it's been this, it's believed to be this, and then a claim happens later. So you got to identify what the actual claim, not just setting up, well, it's been 7 forever. That doesn't mean the claim is equal 7. Later, somebody goes, I think it's different. That's the claim, not equal to 7. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So most of the homework problems where it was a little ambiguous is because of that. They have to set up a thing that somebody else has a feeling about. So if I don't set that thing up in the first place, why would this other guy have a feeling about it, right?
For extra credit stuff like I think it was 10.2 and there's another assignment that was extra credit, right? I think it was maybe chapter 11.6. Yeah. So for those ones, if we turn it in, what does it do? Does it just
I add it to your homework score. So
okay.
if you have 100 homework score and you do the extra credit, your homework score is above 100.
Oh, I didn't know.
Or if you have a lower homework score because you had some stuff, whatever, that kind of fills in some gaps.
Okay, got it.
All right, let's finish this up. If we do make it in, then we obviously succeeded. So then we can reject the ho. Support. Yes, yeah, clip that, kids. Support the ha. And again, if the claim was the null, we would say we have found sufficient evidence to reject the claim. If the claim was the HA, we found sufficient evidence to support the claim. Do you guys understand how it's a lot less vague and amorphous and like pick one and hope? No, it's okay. Either you make it in and you succeed, or you don't make it in, you fail, and then your conclusion references the claim. Like it? That was a really good question. I love it.
Can you go over the wording of the second one too?
It would just be, so this one is we have not found sufficient evidence to reject. This would be we have found. If the claim was HO, if the claim is HO, then we would say we have found, Jeff, sufficient evidence to reject, right? Because that's the wording. If the claim was HA, it would be we have found sufficient evidence to support, because that's what I do with HA.
And then you also want us to include the specific information about the problem.
Yeah, of course. And I didn't really set one up. This was in that detail, but to support the claim that platypuses live longer if nobody messes with their eggs. I don't know, whatever the situation was.
There's a platypus on my TV right now. My daughter is watching Phineas and Ferb, so that's really
Right, that's freakydelic. All right. I have a very strange in and out psychic connection that doesn't do me any real help. Why can't I have a psychic connection with lottery numbers? Oh well. Let me catch up with chat. Somebody had a really long. When you're looking at which data fall, okay, all right, we can look at that. Let me see. So let's see, chapter 4. Oh, I should look at this. Get out of there. Here we go. Okay, give me a second. Come here. Hey, all right, here we go. So you're asking about, like, when we do this, right? Private chat, or who is asking me that? I can't remember. Okay. So you're cool with like this number and that number, right? Yes? No? Yes. Okay. Don't you agree with me that from the data, here's the data. Now this is your real question, is what number do I look at? Well, here's your data. These are your data points, correct? Well, don't worry, you're fine. You don't have to talk to me. Like your mic's not working. It's fine. These are your data points. So of course you're going to look there. So what did I catch between 20 and 63? I caught the people that said 40, and I caught the people that said 50. So therefore, I caught 23 plus 18. I caught 41%. Is that all right? I'm not sure what you mean. So do you agree with me that in this interval we caught 40, right? The data point 40. Do you agree with me? Like, did we catch 21 or 25? Did we catch 21 or 25 in here? No, because they're both down here, correct? You with me? Because what is your data? What is your data? What did the kids say? What did I write down? Didn't somebody go, I'm going to be 21? Sure, Mikey. I'm going to be 100. I'm like, maybe, right? I mean, and then I wrote down their answers. This is the data. Now, what does this shit mean? What does like this first row here mean? Can anyone tell me?
The percentage of X?
Yeah, well, sure, okay. 4% of the kids said 21. 24% of the kids said 25. Are you guys with me? So the data is the ages that isn't the data the answer to the question? And wasn't my question, how old are you going to be when you retire? Right, so this is the answers they gave me. This is the data. This is the X's. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, it's not simple. It's all weird as shit. Right?
Can you leave that up for a second? I just want to copy the chart.
No, I'm going to delete it. No, I'm joking. Of course I can.
But it's just a really good example problem to have her kicking around.
Yeah. That's why I give you these worksheets. It's crazy. I don't know. Samantha, what are you talking about? That question from a quiz a while back, or when was it? It wasn't the last quiz though.
I think it's the midterm, the number 2.
Sorry?
I have a
the
question.
midterm?
Yes.
Let me stop sharing. I'm sharing somebody's midterm. That was not good.
But the chart.
What's up? You still need it?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Dude. It is in Canvas. I went to Canvas to pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the chapter 4. It's the solutions. Is the answers to the probability handout in chapter 4. That's all that is. It's all up there in Canvas. Yeah. So I'm sorry. You're talking about number 2?
Yes, part A.
Oh, okay. All right. So on the midterm, on number 2, that was the one where I gave you the answers for the first 3 questions. I just gave them to you. It's just like those 2 questions in the homework. Remember when I had Latinos and death penalty stuff or whatever, and the other one was about supporting same-sex marriage and all that kind of stuff. Do you guys remember those problems from the homework?
Yep.
Okay, no. All right, yes, okay. So I made a problem just like that because I gave you problems and we talked about it a lot in class. And so I thought, hey, let me grade them on something that we talked a lot about. So the A, B, and C, no work for A, B, and C. Let me make sure I'm remembering the right thing here. There, all right. There we go. Preview number 2 was the one I'm thinking about, right? Please be the one I'm thinking about. Yes. Okay. Good. Number 2 is the one I'm thinking. Number 2 is the one about creative writing and English and all that kind of stuff. Remember that in the midterm? Nobody wants to help me out. Okay, fine. So that's the one where the first 3, A, B, and C. I just gave you those answers. Are you with me out there, Samantha?
Yes.
Okay, so I just gave you those answers. The hard part. So let me do an example on the board of this. Okay, so let me make an example up on the board because a lot of people had some trouble with that. So what if I told you? Let's see. What if I told you the probability of A was 0.42? You guys see that? Yeah, sort of. And the probability of, what do you got, Jeff? G given A is 0.39. And the probability of G is 0.37. I'm probably making a problem, it's not gonna even work. So that's like the first 3 parts of that problem on the midterm. And then I ask you, can you figure out what the probability of A given G is? So you know these 3 things. I want to know what that is. What's the formula for this? What's the formula for this?
Is the probability of A and G
Yes?
divided by the probability of G?
Yes. So what do I know? Do I know this? Do I know this part? Did I
Yes.
get
Yes.
that part? Did I tell you that part? No. Do I know this part?
Yes.
Yes. Yay! But I don't know this. Shit. All right, let me write that down. What's the formula for this?
Is it A times, is the probability of A times probability of G given A?
And I know probability of A, I know probability. So this times this is this, and that of course goes up here, divided by this. So it was a 2-stage problem. You write the formula down for what I asked you, and you go, this jackass didn't tell me this. So then you write the formula down for that, and you go, oh, that jackass told me what I needed. Oh.
Oh.
No, don't feel bad. Because that was not like an easy problem. It wasn't like a horrendous problem, but it was a 2-step problem, which always kind of gets people down.
Thank you.
That's a weird hair, man. I feel like I'm back in Georgia with this haircut. It's not quite a mullet. It's getting there though. Jeez. All right, I don't want to party in the back.
Mullets are in.
Are they? Okay. No. I don't follow trends. All right. So okay. All right. So what's next, guys?
Professor, I have a quick question.
Yep.
So I had the question before about the ho and the ha and the claim and all that. So can I just check my answer real quick with you to make sure I understood it
What thing are we talking about?
for quiz 6?
For 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the 2 data points, I got negative 1.667 and positive 1.667. And for the Z star, I got negative
Wait. What?
quiz 6, number 1C.
Okay. Oh, all right. Was your what was your claim on that one?
The mean equal, or the mu equals 2.90.
2.90. Okay. What's your answer to part B?
We use the Z-score.
Z-score, sure. So I'm confused. You just told me an answer to part C? Is that what you were giving me, the 2?
Yeah, the 2 data points. Are they wrong?
Yes, because they weren't, for one thing, they're not Z-scores you just told me.
APGA.
Oh.
Right? What were the numbers you gave me? They sounded like T-scores.
Yeah, I used the T-score
Of course you use the T-score, but where are the Z-scores on the T-score chart?
on the bottom.
All the way. It sounds like you stopped.
Oh, because
Why do we use T-scores chart instead of the Z-score chart?
You don't have to. So the reason is because it's quicker. That's all. It's just quicker, and it has more information quicker about the most commonly used alpha values. Is that?
Yeah, okay. Because I know that it just anytime it's above a certain value, you go to that tail and you go all the way down, but then you're going to get the same answer every time.
Except, yeah, exactly. It's just quicker. That's all. It's just set up beautifully for hypothesis tests and stuff. It's quicker. But does that mean no? You can use a Z-score chart for sure. That's fine.
So I used the chart wrong, or I'm confused.
It sounds like you gave me T-scores. Because what were the numbers you told me again?
Negative 1.667 and positive 1.6.
Those are definitely T-scores.
Yeah.
I think you're looking in the wrong column. It's a 2-tail test, correct?
Yeah.
And what's alpha?
0.05.
Yeah, so 2-tail, 0.05, all the way down. Try it again.
Okay.
Do we just take the absolute value? What do you? You're very fascinated by absolute value, Billy. I got a negative T-score. I don't understand. No, of course you don't take the absolute value. No, I don't understand. Yeah, because the negative sign tells you what side of the mean you're on, which is very important information, right? Does that make sense? So you don't want to strip that sign away because it tells you what side of the mean you're on. So if you have a 1-tail test down here and you throw your T-score up there, it's going to get freaky. Okay. How's everybody else? Now's the time. You can suggest a kind of problem to go over. You can be very specific with your questions. It's wide open, guys. Just like yesterday.
Hey, Jeff.
No, we can't.
So I'm trying to correct my midterm, but I can't see the PDF file for the questions.
Let me see if I got it set up right here. I don't see why not. You should be able to.
I can like download my answers, but I can't download the questions.
When you go to the midterm, so you don't go to submit midterm. Go to the midterm. That's where you got the midterm, right? So go to midterm. What's it say? When you just go to the midterm, don't go to submit midterm because that's where you turned your answers in. It's not where the questions were.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure.
I was wondering if I could get the original correction for my midterm because I submitted a. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. I submitted a correction, but I realized the way I only submitted A, one of the pages, and B, it wasn't in a right order. So I wanted to go back and understand it. And I was wondering if I could get my original midterm submission back because I know that you can see that, but we can't.
I'm pretty sure you can. Let me see. I did a test on something a minute ago. Can you guys, when you submit corrections, has anybody gone in and been able to see their earlier submissions? I'm pretty sure you can on your side.
I have. I just had to I think it was on my phone, but there was a drop down thing and you select the date that you submitted it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wait. We got to deal with one thing at a time. I'm pretty sure you can do it on the laptop also. It's always hard for me though because I'm not really a student in the class, so I can't necessarily do it.
I'll check right
Retest.
now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But if you can't, then I can try to download and send it to you. All right, go ahead. Who had a question?
So when you go to the quizzes, if you scroll to the bottom, it has the attachments. So it should show both attachments and you just click the first one.
Yeah.
On the phone or on the laptop?
On your computer. So when you go to the submission area and you scroll to the bottom, there's all the attachments for the submission section. So both of the attachments should be there. And I think the first one is should be your original.
I don't see any. It just says new attempt and then submission details.
Wait. New attempt means you're looking, what are you trying to get? Your midterm? Are you trying to get your original midterm?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get my original midterm submission to look at it side
So
by
you're
side.
going to submit midterm. It sounds like, oh, you are at submit midterm, right? I love you guys. So no. So don't go to submit midterm. Don't you go to grades? And then you can.
Submit midterm here.
I'll have to set up a test here, but I can't tell you exactly how it works, to be honest.
I've just got view feedback, resubmit assignment, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, actually on my computer, I can't see my original midterm submission either, only on my phone.
I can't see it on my laptop either, the original.
I'll just check my phone, no big deal.
All right, I have to be able to check this somehow. Let's see. I know I've seen it before. All right, what was it? Hold on. I did build one thing in here. I don't know what it was. All right, shit. Why is everything missing? That's too bad. Yeah, I guess I didn't. I gotta redo it. All right. But again, if you can't, just email me. I could send it to you because I can see it really easy. No worries. Okay. Any other questions?
Would doing the practice midterm again, would that be another great way to practice and prepare for the final?
I mean, that's another option. Any practice quizzes, practice midterm, they're all examples of kind of problems I like to give. You don't want to do any practice question too many times. I still remember the first time I taught, and this one kid said, man, I made a D on the test, and I did every problem like 8 times on your practice thing. Like, why did you do that? It's like you memorized those problems. You didn't understand the idea behind the problem. So I'm not going to give you the same problem. Anyway, so I'm not saying you think that way, but just be careful about practicing the same thing too many times, because then you get stuck in all the specificities about that problem instead of the idea of those kind of problems. Yeah, that's easy to do. I understand.
Professor,
Yeah.
I'm kind of still stuck.
Who's talking to me? Let me see. Nobody is lighting up for me. Hello? Hello? Who is it?
Me.
Oh, okay. Why are you not? Okay, go ahead.
So
What are
I'm still stuck on quiz 6. So you said to use the Z-score, and I just don't know what to look at. Like, I don't know what to look for.
All right, so real quick, we're talking about number 2.
Number 1.
Number 1.
C.
So you understand what you got wrong on part B, right? You do know the standard, the population standard deviation, so that's why I can use the Z-score. Yeah, so it's a one-tail test, right? No, that's right. You've changed it now, right? So it's a two-tail test, right? You redid part A. All right, so it's a two-tail test, 0.05. Here, let me pull this up. Oh shit, that's the wrong one, Jeff. Oh, you already got the right one up. Yay! All right, hold on. So look at how beautiful the T-score is, everybody. Just bask in its glory. So two-tail, 0.05, all the way down, 1.96. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's all. Two-tail, 0.05, all the way down. That's it. That's why this is so beautiful for hypothesis tests, because you have an alpha value. So if it's 0.05, it could be one of these. It's a two-tail test, so it's got to be this one. Yay.
Oh, okay.
If it was a one-tail test, I would have looked here, and then you would have gotten 1.645, right?
So
If it was
just
a one-tail.
large row, that's just all Z-scores, right?
Yes, because the idea is that the T-scores have to cover our ass a lot if we have a small sample, because then we're less certain about what we see. So what if we have a large sample? Then they don't have to cover our ass at all because we feel pretty good about what we see. So that's why they become the Z-scores. They don't have to be bigger. They don't have to make things wider. They don't have to compensate as much.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure. I love Jessica. I love your daughter's probably like, why is she watching such a boring show?
She likes attention, so she's probably just trying
Oh, I
to get
see.
in on the camera.
I got you. Understood. I was for a little while before, well, for a long time actually, I was dating somebody with two little ones, and the little girl, anytime we passed by a stage or a little upraised area, she had to get up there and start dancing around and stuff, and that was hilarious to me. But I understand it. Billy says, when it says two-tail, I'm guessing you mean 0.05. Then each tail does have 0.025. Yes, definitely. And look how this makes sense. So if I have a two-tail 0.05, how much is in one tail then? 0.025. And do you see how it's the same column? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Doesn't a two-tail 0.05 have 0.025 in one tail? Either way you look at it, you're in the same column. That's kind of nifty. Okay, it does make sense. It all does, all of it. Believe it or not.
For the sigma, like just S versus S and then X bar, sub X bar, could we go over, I forgot which one it was, but there's an example in, quiz 6. Just differentiating when to have, when do you, like, you always have to find S sub X bar.
All right.
Sorry, that was a ramble.
Sorry. When do you have to divide the standard deviation by the square root of n? What are the two things?
for a group?
Sure, all right. When they take a sample and they ask about the sample mean. Right? Did I say only sigma? No. So what confuses people is they think that S is already a sample standard. No, that's nothing. Sigma and S are spreads of individuals. If I'm talking about a group, they both have to be divided by the square root of however big that group is to become a spread for groups.
So how is S, like, I know S is different than sigma.
It's different just in the fact that it's from a sample instead of from a population, but it still describes spread of individuals.
Okay, and
So
then,
it's an approximation for sigma if I don't know sigma, but it's basically the same idea.
okay. But then when you add the X bar to it, what's that talking about? An individual?
That becomes the spread of groups, spread of averages of groups instead of the spread of individual data values.
Oh, okay, I think I
One
remember
has a
now.
little X on it, so it's a spread of individuals. And the other one has a little X bar on it. It's the spread of groups, spread of averages of groups. Yeah.
Okay, so you have S, X, and then you
Listen,
have,
right there, S and SX are the same.
okay, so SX, and then you have SX bar, you have sigma X and sigma X bar, but you don't always have the X because sometimes it's invisible. That would just be S or just.
It's like the square root symbol. Does it have a little 2 in it? No.
No,
Right.
okay, that helps. If I can
Because it's
visualize
the
it with a
most
little X.
used, it's the most used root, so we don't put the little 2 for a square root.
Okay,
Like a little 3 for a cube. So same thing here. SX and sigma X are most often used, for things, and so we just don't use the little X on there because we know what it means. We know it's for individuals.
knowing that there's like an invisible X there helps me think, oh yeah, individual.
Oh, okay. That's cool. And that's why I like to point out, when you do on the calculator, one var stats, I'm sure you've noticed it has SX and sigma X. Maybe not, I don't know. Next time you do it, you'll see that.
Can you do a problem that kind of correlates with because I don't want you to like do my corrections for me, but there's one on quiz 4 part II that's probability 28 and like a normal distribution, and for some reason like there's something that's like blocking me from setting it up.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
because it's just probability of 28.
No, well, it's the 28th percentile, and I think you set it up correctly. You just looked. Let me see where you looked. You said your answer was. I don't know. Let me see. What does it say?
It's all types of crossed up. So
real quick. Hold on. Where'd it go? Shit and a half. Oh, where's your kid? No, okay. Listen. What's 28% as a decimal? What's 28% as a decimal?
0.28.
0.28, not 0.028, right?
Not what I put.
Now listen, that's exactly what you did.
I see.
That's exactly what you did. Yeah.
That's what I looked up. Okay.
All right.
And I do that often, so that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question from homework 12.3 that I got wrong. So it's number 26, and it tells you that like the number in the data set, there's 2 points, and then the R value is 1, and you have to explain why or why not it's not significant. And I put it's not significant because there's not enough data points to prove that the correlation is strong.
R is 1, isn't it?
So even if there's only 2 data points, if
No,
R is 1,
no.
it's strong.
You got the answer right. You got the explanation not quite right. Not good enough. R is 1. That should be perfect correlation, right?
Yeah.
So how can, like, it's perfect. What the hell? But any 2 data points, any 2 points automatically make a line. So here, watch. Let me actually draw this out because I try to say this a few times. You ready? I really want you to understand this. This is kind of cool. All right. Let's see. I'm excited. This is I've said this to a few people, but I've never actually got up here and drawn this out. So this distribution, this relationship, is it linear? Can you guys see those points?
No, it's not linear.
Is that a linear relationship?
No.
No, it's called a Loch Ness Monster relationship. No, I'm joking. So it's not linear. What if I take this data point and that data point? So I take a sample of 2, right? This is my population, and I sample 2 things. There they are. There are the 2 things. And draw the line of best fit. Doesn't it go through both of them?
Yes.
Any 2 points. So I could have picked this point and that point, or this point and that point, and I would have lines. Any 2 points make a line. So technically, it is because the sample's too small, but then I'm like, well, how big of a sample do you need? And why? So really the answer is, if I just have 2, it'll always make a straight line. So at that point, it's like, who gives a shit?
So then I could write there's not enough data, and because there's only 2 points, it'll always have R value of 1 no matter what.
What's up? Sorry.
So I could write there's not enough data points to prove it's significant, and since there's only 2 points, it'll always make a straight line with an R
Yeah,
value.
that's basically, 2 points will always have R equals 1, no matter where they came from.
Okay, thank you.
What? So obviously, if there's a major lull in the conversation, you could actually ask anything. Preferably related to statistics, but could be anything. Can we go over quiz 1? How do you mean? Do you have a specific question from quiz 1? One second. 1 Mississippi. I know, I'm a jackass. Okay. Oh man.
Professor, how long have you taught at Grossmont?
Since 2005.
Okay, because I feel like you know a lot of all the
I do know.
of students after a lot of years.
Oh yeah. Well, thankfully, I don't think anyone here was born after 2005. That would make you 16 or so. I don't think I have any people from what's called middle college. So sometimes I have high schoolers in my classes, which is great. That's fine. But don't make me feel that old, please. I really don't care, to be honest. If your age gets really high, that means you're succeeding, you're living, you haven't died. It's a good thing. So I'm old. Yay. This is the first time I ever had a beard, and got salt and pepper in it. And I'm like, well, okay, neat. And of course, my mom, the minute she saw me, she's like, oh, salt and pepper. It's too bad. I'm like, shut up.
Professor,
Yes.
I'm still getting tripped up with the whole and the haw thing. So for one of my problems that I had the Z star did make it in. So I would say we have found.
Now listen, stop. All right. On the fourth step, I've done this every time. Before you write your conclusion, just write like the mini conclusion. So if you make it in, you made it into the rejection region, correct? So right underneath that, write reject H naught, support HA. You with me? Because we didn't fail, we succeeded. Which means you can do both of those things. Are you with me?
Both reject the whole and support.
Because what's your step 3 say? If Z star is blah, 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 then you can reject the null, support the ha, right? You with me? So if we get in there, you can immediately, right below that, before you write the conclusion, you can say reject HO, support HA. You with me? I have done that every time. And there's a reason for that, because now, which one was your claim? Go back up to the beginning. Which one? Which one?
The hoe, like.
Okay. So then you circle the statement with the hoe in it, right? The reject the null, and you cross through the element. You don't want that shit. So when you go to write the conclusion, we have found sufficient evidence to reject the claim, blah, blah, blah. I really want that to be that simple. If the claim was the null, I'm going to use the language related to the null. And vice versa.
So we have found sufficient evidence to reject the whole.
Reject the claim that plagiarize, right? To reject the claim that, and then you can just write down what the claim was in English. Yeah. Okay. I really want that to make there. It really isn't that crazy. You want the conclusion to talk about the claim. So whatever the claim was, that's the language you use.
And if the Z star didn't make it in,
Then we would fail to, right? So you would say we have not found evidence to reject the claim in this case. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's not that many things that could happen. There's only 2 things that could happen. You make it in or you don't. And then how you word it is just based on which one was your claim. That's the one you circle, and then you make your conclusion. Quiz 1, questions 2, 3, and 4. Oh, all right. So this is going back a ways, guys. What was the difference between a parameter and a statistic?
Parameter describes the population and statistic talks about the sample.
Yep. PP, I love it. Right. Parameter talks about the population, and the statistic talks about the sample. Like, you're gonna love that shit. So if your answer to a parameter or statistic question is parameter, then how do you describe it? You say because it describes the population, because it says all or whatever, right?
Okay.
And then we have our favorite questions, which were the nominal, ordinal, interval ratio questions. Remember those?
Yeah, I thought I'd bring them back just to make everyone stay better.
No, I mean, we might as well review. So, nominal and ordinal, they are not numerical, right? They're not numerical. For some reason, I have people tell me, this is numbers, so it's nominal. Just because the beginning of the word sounds like number, nominal. It's not. Nominal is just names. Nominal is plume de nom, it's names, right? So if I've got the number of turtles I see on my hiking trip, that cannot be nominal or ordinal. That's a number. It's got to be interval or ratio, right? So then you say, does 0 mean what it's supposed to? So if I wrote 0 down, that does mean the absence of turtle sightings, right? 0 is supposed to mean the absence of.
And if it doesn't, it means
It's interval. If it's truly numerical, it's either interval or ratio, right? So like temperature scale, the Fahrenheit temperature scale, does 0 mean the absence of heat?
No.
No, because it can get colder, right? So therefore, it's not ratio, it must be interval, where subtracting makes sense, right? It could be 2 degrees warmer today than it was yesterday. Subtraction does make sense, but 0 doesn't mean what it's supposed to. So it's only interval level. Are you guys, you with me?
Yep.
Yes. So temperatures would be interval and the number of something would be a ratio.
Almost always the number of something will be a ratio, because 0 should then mean what it should be for counting stuff, right? So if I said the number of typewriters, the number of words I could type, the number of platypi that I see on my TV, the number of bored kids, whatever, that I'm counting. So it could be 0, right? Just thinking how insane I would have been if I would have still had those 2 little kids during the pandemic. I don't know. It was hard enough finding things to do before the pandemic. I don't know how you guys did it if you have kids.
Yeah, I had a relationship with someone who had kids through the pandemic, and she actually loved it. Like, because she had 1 kid, not 2. Kind of had it like, anyway, with someone who had 2 kids and she was miserable. But having the 1 kid in the pandemic, she like wants to go back.
Oh, okay. I can understand that. Not saying it would all be bad.
I like being able to be home with my kids, because like I have a very specific like way that I want them dealt with, like as far as like discipline and stuff. Like, so most people's like the way they treat their kids, I don't agree with. So like I like that I am like keeping my children from being treated poorly by other adults who might get frustrated. So that's cool. But at the same time, like being home all the time, there was so much more mess, and like trying to do school when I have, luckily I only have 1 right now, but when I have 2 of them and I'm trying to pay attention in class and it's just me home alone, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so hard, because they're always climbing all over me and they need something, or they're making a mess, or they're getting into something, and it's so hard to concentrate. Like most of the time I just have to go back and rewatch that day's lecture once they're asleep and not bothering me anymore.
Yes, yeah, that's the time. Yeah, I remember getting up real early and being really quiet in the corner of the front room and grading homework and stuff, and just like waiting until somebody's going to come around the corner. I want cereal. Okay, all right, we got you.
My 1-year-old doesn't go to bed till super late, so that's why like most of the time, like no, even later. That's why usually like when I do my quizzes and stuff, it's like last minute, because I have to like get her away from me and quiet. And
oh, Billy, let's not do there. Let's not go there, Billy.
Yeah, it's hard.
A little too old school, I think. It's all right. My parents gave me whiskey and I'm fine.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
So I got a low score on the midterm that also replaced another quiz because I missed it. So if I do the corrections for that, will the other quiz also go up?
Nope. So unfortunately, yeah, that's the breaks. So if you miss a quiz, you don't get a chance to correct it because it doesn't exist. So it's going to stay at that same grade. The midterm grade, of course, will go up if you make corrections.
Okay. Is there any way I can maybe like correct the other quiz or?
What other? Yeah, if there's a quiz that you took, then
Well, I didn't take it. I missed it. So you said that the midterm will just replace that grade.
that's right. So it's not a 0. But unfortunately, you don't have a quiz does not exist for you to correct. So
Right.
you understand? So that's the trade-off. That's the trade-off. I could have just made it a 0, and some of my colleagues do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. What, oh, do I get it? Well, it works the same for everybody. It's just it's just for any situation. Yeah. Somebody's asked me about a different situation. Yeah, so just instead of it being a 0, it becomes whatever. I normally, when I'm on campus, I do the next test. I just replace the quiz with the next test grade. And that's just a blanket for everybody, no matter what the situation was. Now, given a valid excuse for missing normally, but I'm trying to be nice.
I have a question for 9.5, number 74.
Oh yeah.
Also, I know I didn't turn it in. I haven't had time to go through it, and I didn't want to turn it in without understanding it. So that's why I know it's late.
74 is a mistake on the book's part.
Okay, because I was like, it's not 30. So how do I prove it's normal?
I think, like I said, my hypothesis. You said the word. My hypothesis is that they intended that to be a T-score problem, which would fall under their T-score assumption that they're a normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the last minute, they added in something, and it sounds like something I would do. So that's why I think that's probably what they did.
Okay, so what do you want us to do for this problem? Assume it's normal?
Do the problem, yeah.
Okay.
Say it's not quite 30, but I'll assume that it's enough. Because remember, they could have saved their ass if they would have said the original distribution is uniform or is symmetric or something. Because the prettier the original distribution, the smaller n could be, and it becomes normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 30 is just for every distribution, no matter how ugly it starts off. But if it's kind of pretty somehow, then n could be 15, and it could be normal enough, right? Anyway, so they didn't do that, so that's just their mistake, but you still do it. You need to practice.
And if we weren't given it, like, let's say we're given a problem that's not normal, then do we just say you can't use Z-score or T-score? And so you just, that's the end of it?
Officially, yes.
Okay, because you can't.
Especially if you're taking a test or something that I have created. Even if you're certain that that's what it is, you write down, I don't think I should be able to do this, and you still do it. I really want you to understand. Can you imagine a teacher making a problem that he's like, oh, if they don't notice, they'll waste time on this problem. I mean, that's beyond evil. Do you understand what I'm saying? So every problem on my quiz is meant to be done, or test or whatever, right? I would actually make it its own special thing. If this was the situation, would you be able to do it? I would make a very specific question. Yeah, because it would be so evil to have somebody doing all 5 steps and like, oh, that was really long, and I'm like, you didn't have to do that, bro. I mean, that would be so evil. I don't know. Now that I'm old, I remember it was probably about 10 years ago. I said, give me another 10 years and maybe I'll be that evil, but I'm still not quite that evil.
Hey Jeff, sorry for asking so many questions, but when we were correct, did we correct the whole thing or just the questions that we got wrong?
Only the ones you lost points on.
Okay.
Yeah, please. I'm getting people that give me the whole thing again. I'm like, oh my God, no. Well, you only have to redo the ones you lost points on. Okay, somebody's asking me about a formula to convert means. I don't understand what this means. Where does the rejection region come from in a hypothesis test? Can somebody tell me?
The Z or the T scores.
What do you mean by that? I mean,
well, they give us like they want a 90% certainty or a 95% certainty.
Oh no, you're thinking about confidence intervals.
Okay, that I'm referring to confidence intervals.
Well, rejection regions is what you said, and that's not confidence interval speak. So are you talking about hypothesis tests?
Hypothesis tests, yes.
How do rejection regions get set up? What do they have to tell me?
They have to give you a percentage of certainty.
Significance.
Significance.
Right, the alpha?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So there's not a formula. It's something you look up on the chart. That's all. Right? That's why the T-score chart kicks so much butt.
Oh, so then you just you just make your Z or your T score, and it falls within the shaded region or without the or out of the shaded.
There's two separate things happening, right? To set up the rejection region, you look up on the chart the appropriate alpha in the right place. You with me?
Yeah.
That's to find the T or the Z for the rejection region. Then the very next step is you calculate from the sample information, you calculate the T star or the Z star and see if it fell in there.
Okay.
Professor, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
For 11.2 homework, number 73. For filling in the expected frequency table.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah. Would it? I just don't know how to fill it out. Like, would it be 31.3 times 140?
Why 140? Where'd 140 come from?
Wait, I was looking at the table below.
Oh, no. Be really careful. These are the observations. How many people in any group, what percentage of the people would we expect to never have been married? Right there. Don't, it's not like a question you got to Google or something. What does this problem tell me?
31.3%.
31.3%. You with me? 31.3% of any group would be expected to be never married. You okay? You with me? How big is the group we're talking about? 400, right? So then what's the expected total number here? 31.3% of 400. But don't do 31.3, of course, you got to make it a decimal, right? I kind of hate the way they did this. They put the title as percent. There really should be percent symbols. So you know that these are percentages. You got to make them into decimals, right? Okay. Does that make sense?
And you would times that by 400?
Yeah, each one of these, multiply, make it a decimal, multiply by 400, because that would be how many I would expect.
Okay. Thank you.
Somebody's asking about quiz 6-2B. Whoa, what? There's a lot of what? All right, so quiz 6-2B. Okay. To be.
You're sharing your screen with us.
Yeah.
What's up? Oh shoot, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Person out there. That's the beautiful thing about technology. All right, so 2B. Oh! All right, guys. So in general, if the sample size is less than 30 on a means problem, right? What better happened in the problem that tells me I can still do it?
That's assumed to be normal.
Yeah, that it's already known to be normal or assumed to be normal. Exactly. Does this problem say that? So I'm just talking to one person. Quiz 6-2B. Does it say it's known to be normally distributed?
Looking. I think it said, I went with T-scores on 2B, that's all I know. Because I remember that problem. It plagues me at night while I try to sleep.
Well, and I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. It's different versions of the quiz, so and that's why I'm really just talking to the one person. Your quiz might be a completely different problem.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'll cut to the chase. A little spoiler warning. Yes, it does. It says, I think isn't that the problem? I think everybody had the same setup. It was a fire insurance. And the very last statement in the write-up of the problem says it's normal enough.
I would like to ask about 2B as well.
Sure.
I said we use t-scores because the sample standard deviation is known and the sample size is less than 30.
That should concern you. Sample
But it's
size.
more because the main standard deviation is not known. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so I like only the sample standard deviation known. Beautiful, beautiful. The second thing is it normal? What's one way for it to be normal? The sample size greater than 30, correct?
Yes.
If the sample size is less than 30, like we just said, what has to be stated in the problem to allow us to still do it?
That it's a normal deviation.
It started off as normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like all of chapter 6 was about picking one thing, and we did probabilities and we used the z-score chart. It was normal. Everything was great because it told me it was normal. So if it starts off normal, I don't care how big the sample is. I don't need the sample size to save me. If it doesn't say what it starts off as, oh crap, I need the sample size to save me, right? Central limit theorem, save me. Is that all right, guys? Does that make sense? So for some reason, and I sure as all hell never said this, I would never say because n is less than 30 then t-scores. I would never, that's so much BS. It's amazing. But for some reason, not just you, but quite a few people think that when n is less than 30, use t-scores. That doesn't make any sense. To do anything, it's got to be normal. And then what's the only determination between z and t? What's the only thing that determines between z and t? If I have a normal curve, when will I use z? When will I use t? What's the only thing that differentiates?
Use t-scores when we only know the sample standard deviation, z-scores when we know the standard deviation.
Of the population, yes.
The population.
Yeah, exactly. Good. So
yes, I'm getting it on the last day.
since it said it was normal already, I wouldn't care how big the sample is. The sample could have been 2. It doesn't matter because, like I said, in chapter 6, we had a sample of 1 in chapter 6, and nobody batted an eye because, well, one thing, you didn't even know you needed to, but because it started off as normal. It already told me it was normal.
Professor, I have a question.
Yeah.
9.5, number 78. I guess I just wasn't sure how to set up this question. I think once, if you can just give the outline, I'll probably get it real fast, but it's the one, should the personnel team believe that the mean number is 10? So the claim would be that mu is equal to 10. No. What would be the other one?
Well, that sounds good.
Because I guess I'm thinking back to the 9.2 one where the people believe that that the time for the fire team response time, they believe that it's less than 9.2. So then that's the claim. In this case, how come the personnel believing that it's not 10 isn't the claim?
Because it doesn't say they don't believe it's 10. So it's this wording's a little weird. But it's oh god, I just had it in my head. Hold on. I just had a perfect way to say this. Should the personnel team believe that the mean number is 10? Would they be justified? So this is a question. Let me reword the question. Would they be justified in believing that the mean number is 10? So what are we doing? We're testing the claim that the mean is 10. Does it make sense?
Okay.
I'm hoping that's a bridge. So I could have said, would they be justified in believing mean number is 10? That's another way to say what they said. And that gets us closer to test the claim that the mean is 10.
Okay. I guess the second sentence throws me off because it says members of a personnel department do not believe this figure.
Oh,
But
well, that would have been great to point out to me.
Yeah, sorry.
Just going off the last sentence. Well, then they gave us what they thought then.
So, but then that's not the claim because
Obviously, but yeah, they told us what they think.
so then the claim is that M is not equal to 10.
Not equal to 10. Yep.
Okay. Because that's what I thought because it matches with the fire truck or the fire team people.
Yeah, so that's my fault. I should have read the whole thing, but I was just going off of what you pointed out. But this is why you should read the whole problem. They do tell me what they feel. So I thought the problem was they didn't tell you and all they had was the question. That's why I was trying to explain it.
The claim for this is that mu is not equal to 10. And then you would go through all the steps of like normal,
All
0
5 steps. All
or
5 steps, yep.
okay.
Same 5 steps as always. And of course here you got to use 1 bar stats in your calculator to get the X bar and the S, right?
Oh, we're not. Oh, okay. So you put all of those into list 1, and from that you get
X bar.
your S, but you're not given standard deviation, so you would use a t-score.
Well, the only standard deviation you will be able to get is S.
Right.
You definitely don't know sigma, so yeah, that's why we have to use t-scores here. We're almost done, guys. It's almost over.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we go over on question number 2 for the practice final?
Practice final, okay.
It's letter B.
Let's see, where did I put this? Oh, man. This sucks. Oh, that's right. I did totally. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I'm trying to catch up with.
Yeah, if we could do the whole question of number 2, that'd be awesome.
I did.
Okay, then I'll go
But,
back.
I mean, we could do it again. We could do it. We could do it live. But I have it.
We're gonna go live. We're gonna do it live.
Do it live. I do have it non-live.
Good reference.
My video. Let's take a look. All right, here we go. Why did I don't know. I really don't. So number 2, right?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So how many pieces? So which part?
B.
This B right here?
No, number 2 on part 2, letter B. Yeah, that one.
So, so I'm picking 2 pieces of paper, right? Without replacement, right?
It's gonna be 6 and then 5 multiplied by 5.
No, that doesn't sound right because that's way bigger than 1, right? Probability's got to be less than 1.
Is it 2 out of 6?
3 out of 6.
Yeah, 3 out of 6. Sorry.
3 out of 6 because there's 1, 2, 3 odds. So the first one, so there's 1 pick and times another pick. So the first one being odd is a 2 out of 6 chance, and then you eat that piece of paper. Fiber and some ink. That's okay.
3 out of 6 chance.
Say again. Oh, I'm sorry. 3 out of 6. I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah.
I need fiber or something. I need
2. Okay, and on number 2, if 2 are select replacement, we eat the paper. Gotcha.
So now what would it be?
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Yeah, good.
Red and then green. So that would be just probability of.
It's probably the first one's red.
3 out of 6.
3 out of 6. And you eat that paper.
So 3 out of 6 times 3 out of 6.
No.
3 out of 5.
Thank
I
you.
ate that first piece of paper, yeah. So now there's 5 slips left, yep. But there's still 3 of them that are green, correct? So
Oh,
that's the difference. Here it was a red and then a green. So this one being red did not affect this. Here's an odd and then another odd. So if I lose an odd because I eat that paper, there's one less odd also. So both the top and the bottom change. Does that make?
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. That was very helpful.
Yay! I helped.
If no one asks anything, I'm going to ask you to go back to central limit theorem because I'm still at a flyby with that, but I can wait until after class to ask you about that.
Go ahead. Nobody's asking you. Are you talking about out of the homework or?
Specifically,
Can I interrupt you really quick, just because we're still on here before, so you don't have to go back?
Yes. What's up?
For question 78, I just saw and it triggered something. That one, the n is equal to 8. So how do you prove that it's normal?
Oh, because right there.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Okay, go ahead,
That's
Billy.
why I
Sorry, I
thought
didn't want to make him go back.
74, I think they originally wanted to be a t-score problem, and then they made it a z-score problem, and then they forgot to change the number. You know, does that make sense? Anyway,
Okay, so if they tell you to use a t, then you can assume that it's normal.
they're saying in these problems, assume normality. Yeah, but they're reminding you in the real world you'd have to prove that assumption, but we're not in the real world, kids.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Billy.
What are we looking
at? I was just gonna ask him to go back to, sorry, I'm catching up in my notes. So many notes. What formula should be used on 4, 8.1, 8.2, 8.3? What formula should be used on quiz 5 to get S?
All right, let's see, quiz 5.
Because I have p hat.
Oh, no, stop. No S for percentage stuff. None. No S. No S. No S. Wait. Because if you have a NPQ problem, like number 1 is, which are you looking at the? All right, so here, let me blow this up so I can share this. All right. Hold on. Dadgummit. Where are you? Dadgummit. All right, hold up. Old man having trouble with technology. All right. Here we go. Okay. Are you guys seeing the screen? I guess it doesn't matter.
Yes.
All right, so which formula would you use here? It doesn't matter. It's all blank. Who gives a shit? Which formula would you use for a problem where you know N's and P's and Q's?
The N equals Z.
No, stop. All right, listen. Isn't this asking for a confidence interval?
Yes.
Okay. What is the idea about a confidence interval? Isn't it something where you create an upper and a lower thing, right? So you have
0.1 on 0.01 on either side. That is
sure. I don't care. I'm just talking about where every confidence interval formula will have a plus or minus in it, because that makes sense, because I'm trying to create an interval go up and go down so much. So won't the formulas for confidence intervals have pluses and minuses in them, plus or minus? So here are the confidence intervals. Here they are. What are these for? These are for figuring out how large of a sample I need. That's what these are. That's why they're solved for N. There are my confidence in. Now, which one of these am I going to use for NPQ problem?
P hat plus minus Z.
Yes. And do you see what's missing in this formula? No S, no sigma, none of that shit, right?
All the other stuff I did is just wrong. Okay. Thank you. That
So, I mean, you know, I would never teach it this way, but now that you've suffered through my explanations of what confidence intervals are, now if I ask you to create a confidence interval, you know it's got to be one of these three formulas, because those are the only formulas that have the plus or minus in them, which is the idea of a confidence interval. Start at the middle, go up and down so much to create an interval. So that's why it's got to be one of those three.
Professor, where do you find that module, that sheet?
This was quiz 5.
Oh, okay.
So it's just your quiz 5. So I mean, again, this is one of the versions of the quiz. So your problems maybe didn't say this, right?
and how do we know that this test is normal? I'm sorry to keep asking about the same test. I just belly flopped so hard on it.
All right. So for
I put that.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
I put that P hat is greater than 5 and Q hat is greater than 5,
Stop.
which is not true.
It's not
because
true. Exactly. Because what's the largest a probability can be?
1.
So there's no way they could ever be greater than or equal to 5.
Great.
So we talked about this. What are you actually checking? Not P and Q, but NP and NQ. N times P and N times Q, right? No?
Yes.
That's it. That's all. So you got to check N times P. In this case, N times P hat, right? It's got to have a little hat on it because that's all we know. N times Q hat, make sure they're both at least 5.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Just a reminder, guys, I'll definitely be in office hours at 12:30 tomorrow. And we're not going to start the final immediately in case 1:30 is like the earliest you can show up. I'm still going to have time for questions before we start the final, right? And I am going to do my best to grade the finals tomorrow night. If not that, I'll get them done early the next morning. Yep. And then you can email me if you want to find out how everything shook out. If you don't want to wait for Web Advisor to get updated. Is there anybody here that wasn't? I think all of you took the midterm. I think there was 1 or 2 people that didn't. Yeah, 2 to 4 officially. We might start a little before 2. It depends on if everybody's ready. But it's going to be just like the midterm, right? Where I try to get you to angle your camera so I can kind of see your workspace. And if I see any typing like beyond minimal typing on your keyboard, I'll be like, what the hell are you doing? It shouldn't be typing. Typing should not be happening.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the syllabus and it didn't say whether or not when you do a quiz correction, you can do the bonus.
Oh, very good point.
But I thought I'd ask.
I need to add that to my syllabus, but that's good. I appreciate your looking first. You only get 1 shot on bonus. If you want to, you can certainly try it and say, can you check that and see if it's right? And they'll tell you, but you're not gonna get points for it. You only get one shot on the bonus. And will there be bonus on the final? There will be. Will it be easy? No. It's final exam bonus questions. Does hard mean a lot of work? No. It could be like a 3-word answer. It's just hard because it's conceptual, maybe, right? Anyway, sorry. So we'll see what the hell that becomes. I can't believe it's already almost over. It always kind of hits me at the end, like I might never see any of you ever again. So that always kind of hits me like, man. Of course, some of you guys, I barely have seen you at all, which I'm not, again, I'm sorry. That's not a guilt trip. That's none of that, because I know you don't have to have your camera. It's fine. It's just this, I don't like this whole thing, but I'm not putting that on your shoulders. Wait a minute. No, I'm not. I'm never going to teach online again unless I'm forced to again. Right. I'm not saying it's horrible. I mean, I have fun doing this, but it's just not the same. Let me think. You're asking me about quiz 6. Quiz 6, 2D. Holy macaroni. I don't know what you did wrong. It's just a little bit off, I think. Make sure it wasn't, maybe it's my mistake. Let's see. No, it's not my mistake. So just, you set it up beautifully. You're just, I don't know why you rounded it the way you did. Yeah, you just rounded too much. Okay. Everybody else thinks I've gone insane because they don't see your chat to me. I'm just talking to my phone. What's that phone? Oh.
So I have a question about confidence intervals. On a couple of my homework assignments where they ask you what kind of distribution you should use for the ones where the population standard deviation is unknown, I put, you should use a t-score because population standard deviation is unknown. And then I get marked down and question mark.
Exactly.
Sure, what else more to write?
Well, here's the problem. How did you know you could do anything? You always have to check. What do you always have to check first?
If the sample size is larger than 30?
Sort of. What you really mean to say is if it's normal or not. So either it could say it's normal, yay, or the sample size could be greater than 30, right? That's what saves me if it didn't say it was normal.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what you have to check and say both things.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes. Oh, quiz 1, number 4. All right, where did I put quiz 1 at? Oh, did I? Oh, there you are. Quiz 1, number 4.
What sampling technique was used?
So for 4A, you said there's no system, and I highly disagree. Didn't they use a system? Didn't they do something more than just pick names out of a hat?
Yes, they did.
They did. So it can't be just random. It's got to be more than that.
Can we go through just so it's random if there's no system?
All right, and then you have systematic if it's every nth, like every 5th minute For every 11th person, right? That's systematic. Systematic, automatic. You with me? So then you got stratified and cluster. Remember those? Stratified breaks the groups up, breaks them into groups, and then takes some from each. That's the key word, some from each. So if I took some tomatoes from every tomato plant, stratified. Cluster takes all from some. So if I took every tomato off of some tomato plants, cluster. And then of course you got convenience, which is the sucky thing to do, which is I talked to some people when they came out of the thing and they said, yeah. So that's convenience. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you're ready, by the way, if you're ready for the final, you don't have to stay. You can head out. I have so many people out there that are just not saying anything. If you're ready, there's no need for you to sit here.
I have a question about the midterm, but I want to save it for the end. So that's all.
Oh, okay. You don't want to share, or is it too specific to your midterm? Is that what it is?
I had a question about like what we should have. Like I know we're supposed to have the X, T, and Chi charts.
So here's this. Ready? Somebody asked this question earlier. There was something else I was going to say too. Dadgummit. But I am going to put at the tail end of the final, I'm going to have all the charts. I'm going to have the chi-square chart, the z-score charts, and the t-score chart. So if you want to, you can print them out again, or you have them right there to kind of reference if you're scrolling on your computer. Right?
So we won't need anything extra besides calculator. Like we won't need. We'll just have the final and
formulas will be on there, and I'll have another copy of the charts in case, just to have them all right there. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question, sort of. Would it be possible for where you did the section 2.1, 2.6 practice, like you just uploaded the video, you didn't also upload the sheet with the work? I'm gonna redo my quiz too, but sometimes it's a little bit like more efficient for me to just look at the page without having to like scrub through the video.
I understand.
Is it possible for you to upload, if you still have it, just the work?
What is it for again?
The math, or sorry,
the practice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. The 2.1 through 2.6. That's what you said. Who knows? Let me see if I have that. I gotta have it somewhere.
Don't worry about it.
Somebody else was saying something. Yeah, you can still redo quiz 2. That's right. What would it be called? Let's see.
My file, when I saved it, it says M160 quiz 2C. I don't know if that's what you have it saved as and why it did that.
Quiz 2C, I like it. But you mean, oh, no. So I know it's quiz 2. I'm just wondering what the practice thing was, because it wasn't really a practice quiz. So it's just me trying to figure out what past Jeff would have called this thing. I wonder, where am I at? Yeah, it wouldn't be, maybe it was last semester. See, that's the problem, is I don't know where I saved the file that I was writing on, or even if I did save it, shit. Oh, here it is. Wait a minute. Holy shit. I named it something that made sense. Let me see. Does this look familiar? Is this the...
Yeah, that's it.
Man, I really did a great job here. Why did I not do those? I don't remember. I got my job of the hut. What in the world? This is weird. I don't know. All right. Yeah, I can post that. I don't know how much help it's gonna be. Let's see. I guess I can stop sharing it. Where, okay, Jeff, did you just lose where it was? Here it is. Okay, thank God. All right, where are you? There you are. All right, so I'm gonna put it as a link in the where it says solutions video. I'm gonna put it as a link right before the video. Let's see if that works. Yes, okay. I'm gonna do it. Let's see. Come on. There it is. Open, submit, and save. So now if you go back to the solutions video, then you'll see right above the video is the link for the sheet, of answers. Oh man.
Sorry, where do we find that?
So, all right, so there's a solutions video for the 2-1 through 2-6 practice sheet, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you. So if you click on the solutions video, right above the solutions video is this.
It's just dated. What? I'm sorry to ask you redundant questions, but what date is this?
What do you mean? What date is this?
Oh, I'm on your YouTube page.
No, not the YouTube page. Look, I'm showing you. I'm showing you where things are.
Oh, right. Thank you. Understood.
Yeah. Solutions video, and then right above the video is this sheet. Yeah. If you just want to look at all the answers real quick. Whew. Slowly lost people. So now here's all the answers for the final. You ready?
Yeah.
Joking. One of the answers has a 7 in it somewhere. And another one is decimal.
Wow. Thank you so much. That really helped.
What is it? One of my professors told me, he thought it was as funny as I think I'm funny. He said he gave out the test and he noticed that some of us are like, oh man, he's like, just pretend it's over. That's when you guys know it all. We're like, whatever, geez, whatever, jackass. We're like, now we're confused and angry. Good job. You guys working on stuff and just what's happening? And just staying here in case you hit something weird? Is that what's going on? All right. What am I gonna do?
Also, so I know that in the syllabus it said homework can't be made up without a valid reason. And then there was the day that I had that.
What did I say? Wait a minute. Homework can't be made up, or quizzes can't be made up?
It said homework. Well, it's like something I didn't turn in at all.
No, I always say, let me see. I always say the homework, like section 1.1 homework, You could turn it in on the day of the final.
Oh,
Is it late? Hell yeah, it's a lot late. So it's not going to be worth anywhere near as much as full credit, but it's going to be more than 0, right? I don't think I say anything about, let's see.
it says allowance for late homework. Oh shoot, where'd it go? Makeup quizzes and allowance for late homework will be allowed only under special circumstances.
Oh yeah, so I'm more lenient than that.
Okay. But for the one, I do have, so for 6.1 was the day that I had that family emergency that I was literally dealing with until really late at night.
Yeah, you can, that's fine. So one reason why I put that in there is to try to get people to do it. Now in situations like yours, that I understand. But in general, I just try to get people to do the homework before it's due, because I always make the due date correspond to kind of like the next day it's a quiz or something. So I mean, the best way to get ready for a quiz is to do the homework.
Okay.
So yeah. But that's me being overly
So I
strict
feel
in my expectations, so then I could be more lenient on the backside. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
When you have a question that's like define the rejection region, that one, is there a specific way you want us to word that? Like you have a specific way you want us to word the conclusions?
Oh, you mean when you draw the picture and then you have to say if Z star is blah blah blah?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily, as long as you capture the idea, but it's, I don't know how many ways you could write that, because it's, once you shade in the rejection rate, is if Z star is bigger than this number or less than that number or something, there's not a ton
I
of
guess you could say, for example, for the quiz 6, it was if T star is less than negative 3.012, we have enough evidence to reject the whole mu is equal to.
Oh wow, so you're using way too much words. So you can use more words than you need to if you want to, but I don't know why you would, but yeah.
Okay, so you don't need the words. You can just like put in, write it in Mathis.
That's not your full conclusion. So you can just say reject the ho, support the ha. Because
Okay.
when you get to the conclusion is when you're going to write it fully. And the conclusion is sometimes the only thing that the person who hired you to do this statistical analysis
This is what they want. Okay.
you want to know, right? So that's why that's the point where you have to put it back into words related to the physical situation.
Okay. Because I remember when we were going through like the practice hypothesis stuff, you wrote it out in words. So I thought, as I was studying, and then I thought we had to do that.
If I did, I was just being overly cautious.
Okay.
Because when we first start hypothesis test, it is exceptionally weird, right? I mean, it's just like, what is happening? So, for quiz 3, 4B, I don't know why, but my brain blanks out. Let me see. Quiz, what is it? 3. I think I have that one up here. I gotta open it up. Hold on. Nope. All right, quiz. Quiz 3, 4B. There it is. Okay. Quiz 3, 4B. I don't know why. Oh, I don't blame you. So there is no formula for probability of B. There isn't. What did I give you though? What did I just tell you in the problem? I gave you information, didn't I? I told you the probability of A. I told you the probability of B given A, right? And I told you the probability of A or B, correct? And by the way, I'm talking to somebody private chatter. Okay. Yeah. What's the formula for the probability of A or B? Right, so write that down for yourself. And then, you with me? So look that up. It's on that quiz too, right? It's in the formula box. You with me out there? Yes? Okay. Doesn't it have the probability? So it's got probability of A or B, and we know what that number is. It's got the probability of A. We know what that number is. It's got the probability of A and B. You calculated what that is, right? And what's the only thing in that whole formula you don't know? P of B. So it's just like algebra. Solve for the thing you don't know. Right? You can even put an X in place of P of B and make it really feel like you're back in algebra. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it's either write the formula for what I ask you, or like this problem shows you, write the formula for something I told you, like the OR thing. Because then it has what I asked for in it. Yeah, my hair's like really.
Are we still in a problem or?
No.
If not, question. All right. So I have a question from homework 8.2, and it's number 14. And the question is, if many random samples of size 14 were taken, what percent confidence intervals constructed should contain the population's mean?
Which number is it?
114.
Oh, 114. Okay. All right. That is the idea of confidence intervals, right? Any probability doesn't make sense until you talk about a large number of trials. So, for example, if I make a 95% confidence interval, what does that 95% mean? It means if a lot of people made 95% confidence interval, 95% of them would contain the real mean. You see how that answers that pretty much? I'm pretty sure it answers the question. Yep.
So then since the sample in the question is already size 14, it would still be the
Well, it is size 14 because that's how many was in the problem you did.
Yeah.
But to be honest, your answer is going to be true for any 95% confidence interval. You'll be 95% of the intervals created will have the real mean in them. That's why we say I am 95% confident that this interval that I made has the real mean, because 95% of all intervals that could be made would have the real mean.
Okay, then so the answer would be, if many random samples of size 14 were taken, the confidence level of 95% should contain population.
No. So what percent of the confidence intervals constructed should contain the population mean worth of coupons? 95% of them. Done.
Okay.
Why? Because that's what a 95% confidence interval means, right? It's kind of a weird why, because that's sort of like the definition of what it means.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I gotta fire my barber. Yeah, that's me.
For questions 9.5 again, homework 9.5, question 74. I don't know if you need to go to it, but they give you sigma, standard deviation for the population is 8,000, and they also give you S as 9,500. Obviously you're given sigma, so you can use sigma and you can say, okay, well then we'll look for the z-score, right? When it comes to actually solving.
Stop. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up with what you said. You use sigma, which means, but then you said something. What'd you say after that? It sounded like you found the t-score. You're going to use z-scores. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I used the z-score chart, and I found for 0.05 on the t-score chart all the way down, 0.05, and I found 1.645, or in this case negative 1.645.
Yep.
But then when it came to like the summarize step,
to calculate your z-star.
Yes. that one, do you use S or do you use standard deviation for that one?
If you use S, then that means what you did earlier was wrong.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Because
Right.
you're only allowed to use z-scores if you're going to use sigma.
So why'd they give you S then?
Because they want you to really understand it. If I take a sample, can I calculate S? Yes, right? Any sample, I go take a sample, and I'm talking about means here, right? So if I go take a sample of anything in the universe, I can calculate S.
Right.
So I can always have S. But why would I use that if I also happen to know sigma? That's their
Does it
point.
depend on the question? Because I don't know, I thought they were like referring specifically to the sample.
You gotta be, all right, this sample of tires lives in the population of tires, correct?
Mhm.
This is a part of the population of tires. So
Okay.
the sigma works for them.
Right.
If I calculate, now stay with me. This is why I've said this several times. S is an approximation for what sigma is.
Mhm.
That is fundamentally why I would never use S if I know sigma.
Okay.
Because the job of S is to approximate what sigma is. And in this case, I'm like, I don't need you, S, because I can see sigma. I don't need you.
Okay. So then you just, it's there, but you don't actually do anything with it?
And I really want you to understand. Couldn't you go somewhere, take a sample, and calculate the S?
Yeah, that's
Have
true.
it written down on your paper. And then your other researcher comes over and says, all right, let's get started with this. By the way, sigma is 8,000. And you're like, but I calculated S. And the other guy's like, throw that shit out. All right. So this problem is just trying to show you. That's why they asked that question before. In if you have both, what would you do? And the answer was use sigma, of course. So this is a problem that is actually saying, hey, do you remember that? You got both. What are you going to do? Yeah. So you just cross 9,800 out.
Okay, that helps. Thanks.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, Billy thought there were 17 sheep out there. And I'm not talking about Billy. I always use Billy. And now I have an actual Billy. Billy thought there were 17 sheep out there. But Frank went out there and counted, and there's 15. Why would I use 17? That was an estimate, right? I'm sorry. You already understand, and I kept going.
No, it's good. It's like if the substitute teacher's there and the actual teacher's there, you would just talk to the actual teacher instead of the substitute teacher.
I don't know about that. That might be pushing it. Yeah, I don't know about Frank. Frank is he's a stickler for, yeah, it's like 17 was fine, right, Billy? It's like, Frank, just calm down.
Chill out, Frank. Can we work through 74? I mean, because it's a series of problems. I didn't do turn in 9.5 as well because I was unsure on exactly how. Can we just work through 74 as an example?
Again, do you currently have? All right, first
I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Billy, no. Do you have a printer?
No.
Okay, it's fine. Can you, on Canvas, you should pull up, like, I think I told you this, right? The worksheet with the 5 steps.
I did. I looked at that as I was working through this because this doesn't tell you the steps.
Yeah.
You
In
would
fact,
have
it
to
tell you
like-
to use some weird ass worksheet, table C3, but that's weird ass worksheet. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't like theirs. Which works has the 5 steps. I'll bring it up and put it as a bookmark.
So it's in chapter 9. Hypothesis steps explained is a pretty good one. That's the very first one we did, and it's got explanations of each step.
Oh, I did print that out yesterday while I was at a printer. But anyway, that's that.
But that's what you follow. It's
Hypothesis steps explained. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds to me like that's your problem, is you're not sure the steps to take.
Okay, so just do these steps for each of these problems. Got it.
And be really careful. That particular worksheet is about means, right? We did a problem later about percentages. You with me?
Yeah.
Because remember the z-score formula changes. It has to have p hat and stuff in it when you're talking about percentages.
Yeah.
So just be really careful not to try to force everything to work with that worksheet, because some of these problems are going to be about percentages. So you're probably going to want to find the, what's it called? The proportion problem, the proportion worksheet. It's also in chapter 9. I remember what it was called. Here we go. Hypothesis, practice, percentages. Do you see that? Just in case you get a problem that's got percentages. See here, right here? Am I sharing my canvas? What am I sharing? Nobody can tell me? Screw you, Jeff. I am? Okay, thank you. So right here. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's still the same 5 steps. It's just that right here, see how I'm nice and I tell you the Z-star formula for P hat stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay, so those are great worksheets to have open while you're doing chapter 9.5, section 9.5 homework, because then you can just follow the correct 5 steps.
Okay.
Use the alpha they give you, obviously, right? These are just examples, but the 5 steps are the same.
All right. Thank you for your time, and hopefully with my corrections, I don't have to get an A- on the midterm to pass your class.
If you do, you just do that. Just kick its ass.
No, dude, I'm about to do a whole lot of correction.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, always try to make things require less. I'm with you on that.
Well, to make your life more hectic, I have all of them. I just haven't submitted them, so I'm going to submit everything at once.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, cool. It's been a pleasure.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, man, you're a great teacher. Thanks.
Professor, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I'm looking over the 11.2 goodness of fit worksheet, and I understand it and the whole example, but when I do the homework, I'm just not getting it. Like 11.2 homework.
Give me a number. Give me a problem that you're having trouble with in 11.2 homework.
Number 72.
Okay, so the problem with this is information. You're going to construct your table. What's your table going to look like? It's going to have the categories, right? Which is the sides of the die. You with me? Then it's going to have observed, expected, observed minus expected squared, just like on our worksheet that we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not the table, right? This is not the full table. This is information. So actually, it sort of is, isn't it? I'm speaking out of my head. So this is the observations here. I was thinking about the other problem where it's expected and so just retitle this. This is the table. So don't listen to past Jeff. He's crazy. This is another name for observations here. This is observed. Right, because remember how frequency is in the frequency, the number of things we observe in each class. You with me?
Yeah.
So that's frequency is just another name for observed, and then this is the expected frequency. So that's the expected value. Now, of course, we did a problem. I think we did a die problem, didn't we? If you roll a die 120 times, do you expect any of these to show up more than the others? Should there be any reason, if it's a normal die, should there be any reason that any side shows up more than the others?
No.
No. So how many times would you expect each side to show up if you roll it 120 times? So there's 6 sides. How many times should each side show up if you roll it 120 times?
Once.
If each side showed up once, how does that make 120? So if I rolled it 6 times,
Oh, 6.
listen, that still doesn't make 120. What's 120 divided by 6?
20.
20. So if they each showed up 20 times, doesn't that make 120 total?
Mm-hmm.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. Yay. And then you can do, then you keep going. Observed minus expected squared, and observed minus expected divided by expected squared. No, sorry. Right? Right? Does that?
Yeah.
So what I said first wasn't quite right. They actually did a better job on this problem. This basically is, so there's your O, there's your E, then you can do O minus E squared, all that kind of stuff.
So you just did like 1 divided by 6 times 120, right?
Well, yeah. There's 6 categories, and I want each of them. So listen. If I made $120, and I have there's like 6 people that work together, we make $120, and nobody worked more than anybody else. How much should each person get? $20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. 120 total dollars, and 6 people worked, and we all worked the same amount. We should each get 20 to be fair. That's all we did. How many would you expect each one to get if they each get the same amount? 20.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And for that problem, I would just have to fill out the expected frequency, right?
Well, we already did.
Yeah, but that would be it, right? For
No. They want us to conduct. Now, I didn't make it a hypothesis. But they want us to do the whole thing, right? They want us to figure out what. That's why I put this here. That's why I put this here, and then you have to add these up to get chi-square, and then.
Oh, sorry. And then you use the formula for the chi, right?
Well, yeah, the formula is just to add these up. So once you get this column filled, you just add them up, and that's what chi-squared is. And then, remember we said this, if they don't say what alpha is, you just assume it's 0.05. What's your degrees of freedom here?
Oh, sorry, 5.
Good, yeah, 6 minus 1, 5. I like it. So then you can look those two things up on the chi-square chart, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So then you'll set up what's far enough away, and here, once you add this column up, you'll know where you got. So you'll see if you got far enough away.
Okay, and then the conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Wow. All right, guys. I'm gonna be nice to myself, considering I've been nice for the whole semester. I'm gonna end things now. It's 4 o'clock.
I just had a quick question, not on any question like specifically, but for the midterm. I realized when I submitted the correction, I submitted the correction wrong and I was like missing a page and it's just kind of a mess to read. And I didn't take a picture of this other page. So I know we can only submit corrections once, so that I'm kind of screwed for that. But
I guess I already graded your corrections.
I think so. Yeah.
I probably did, yeah. So unfortunately, if I've graded them already, that's it.
Is it possible for, I know that you have a lot of other stuff, so I just thought I'd ask, but like no is an okay answer. I'm gonna go through the midterm again a second time. And then is it okay for me to, I don't need credit for it. I know what I got is what I got, but I just want to make sure I understand the concepts and stuff. If I were to resubmit it, do you think you'd be able to go over it?
Maybe.
Okay, cool. That's it.
Do it and then let me know you did it. I know to look for it if I have time. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Professor. You made math not suck.
Yeah, well, we'll find out tomorrow. Matthew, you're out there? You all right? You might have stepped away. All right, I'm gonna head out.